Hello everybody, hope you are doing well. Today I am in West Sussex and I'm about to show you a fascinating rifle range, mighty posh one I may add, in Arundel, of course. Beautiful, beautiful Arundel, very busy Arundel as I'm recording this today, to try and actually get some shots without a load of people or dogs coming. It's been very difficult, but we're managing it. Anyway, should we go take you to a abandoned shooting range? Why? Of course, let's. Come on. Hello and welcome back. Lovely walk, not? No, it was. So welcome to Arundel's shooting range. Very, very historic shooting ranges. I will tell you more about the history when we get down there. There's not much. What you need to also be aware of is there are many, many, many shooting ranges all across West and East Sussex, of which I will be doing speculatively. I'm not going to give too much away, but depending on when these come out, but we're all good. Well, just put my thumbs up and just say we're all good. Really good condition, but let's see. Have a proper nosy. All right, come on. Hi everybody, hope you're doing really well. Welcome to Arundel Park's historic, very historic shooting range. Now, it's in an interesting condition, and what I mean by that is it's actually better than I thought, but still not 100% great, but historically brilliant. It sort of looks like there's been actually occupation in the fire control bunker. We'll have a look in that in a minute properly. So, welcome. Welcome to this historic shooting range. It was part of Arundel Park. So let me just give you a brief synopsis of this. So basically it was around 1890 started being used, so sort of late Victorian, and then it was ended in about 1934, so post World War One basically, and it was used all through that period. So you can imagine all through the Victorian to Edwardian and then moving on to what we would refer to as sort of post-World War II, really. It was used as summer training, actually, for camps for volunteers and other army units. And that's not uncommon, necessarily, for these types of shooting ranges. In fact, like I've sort of mentioned before, all of these, in pretty much the Sussex area, had multiple different dates of usage and multiple different starts. Most of them were around the same time, around like sort of like late 1800s, early 1900s, and then obviously depending on some of them lasted up until the 1980s, some of them lasted a little bit shorter, and obviously it depends on the condition or the usage of them. Some of them were really basic in design, some of them had a little bit more going for them, but yeah, in terms of this one, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. We've got it all to ourselves today, but whether that's a good thing or not, because like I'll show you the fire control bunker and we'll have a proper look. But that's the history. Obviously you can see on the old map of how important this was. Just fascinating, really. The landscape of it hasn't really altered that much. So actually what you're walking across is actually the rifle range itself. It's kind of weird when you sort of like look at it in that connotation, but let's actually explore it properly. Come on. Okay everybody, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take you into the very creepy fire control bunker. I apologise for the labelling of that. There are you can label it however you want really, but there are, you know, in some of these rifle ranges they are referred to as fire control bunkers. The idea was that you would obviously be in charge of the targets going up, and then the idea was that then you'd take cover in here as the bullets were being shot at. Now, this is quite thick, you can see. So the idea also with these, again, I'm talking in layman's terms, so please forgive me. This could be used as munition storage, and obviously for storage of guns as well. So it was sort of like a magazine, really, I suppose, as well as depending. So the idea was normally after the usage or after the targets had they'd had their shooting practice, they could use this as a little bit of a lockup. You can see how thick this is as well, like in terms of obviously these heavy doors. You really wanted to sort of keep stuff in here, and this is great because look at this. You've got a wonderful little switches here as well. So the condition, like I said, isn't too bad. It's a shame that obviously people have been using this to camp out and do all manner of things in here that we don't really want to know about or care about, really. And obviously, sadly, the graffiti will probably paint its own picture of stuff. But I don't know why you'd ever want to, but there you go, each to their own. Like I said, this is a very solid structure, this. And it's a nice addition to the history, like I said, depending, foreign ranges, shooting ranges, all varied in condition, all varied in size. Again, like I said, what had happened was really, as I turned my little light off on here, they all varied because due to how long they were in service for, I suppose. So obviously the longer they were in service meant that obviously adaptations to these would probably be taking place, and that's pretty much it really. So yeah, we're going to take a look at the rifle butts themselves, and then I think we're pretty much done, everybody. So let's take a look. Okay, everybody, so I just wanted to sort of talk about the rifle butts themselves, the targets, basically. What you'll notice is that it's very, it's a beautiful mechanical system. The idea is you've obviously got pulleys, and these pulleys would obviously launch targets up, and they'd be raised up like that, so then they could be shot at from that direction. And it's a beautiful piece of equipment. We've seen these in a lot. Depending on how familiar you are on my channel, we've done a lot of shooting ranges, and obviously depending on how much you want to sort of have in your history, really. I mean, I thought I'd sort of go along with it today, but this is obviously just a wonderful, it's just a beautiful piece of relic history, all of this. I mean, the fact that this still survives is incredible. Obviously we saw like so obviously that's at the far end of where we're standing. Obviously the steps are behind me, where the fire control room is. Again, apologies for, like, you know, if I word it differently for some of you more professional historians. But yeah, think of these as bicycle wheels, really. You've got this wonderful mechanism, I don't know if that's going to come out, that still sort of goes, and then you've got these, look at that. The wheels still work, look at that. So obviously they would have been pulling up, and then pulling up those butts, and that's it. Bang, 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 bang. And then any missed targets would have been placed into that chalk, that Sussex chalk that we're into. So yeah, it must have been quite an interesting place if you were down here whilst those bullets were ricocheting over the top. Must have been quite interesting and yet sort of familial sound, maybe. But yeah, brilliant condition. Actually, really, I suppose if we look back at it, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Really well hidden in Arundel Park. Nice little secret, but it's strange actually because they don't obviously advertise it. And I think one of the main reasons why they don't advertise it is because, well, you know, you even know you don't really. But yeah, brilliant. Okay, so as you can hear in the background, something crazy is going on in the wildlife, but never fear. So we're now standing on top of the rifle range, And as you can probably tell, again, it's beautiful when you see the old maps of this target range, the fact that it is literally pretty much most of the landscape's not really changed, and you've got these sort of markers down there. Technically this would be measured in yards, and it's really it's so well camouflaged. You know, you're here and it's a flat, really flat, and then these targets just sort of get raised up, and obviously we're on a raised platform ourselves, and again this is very, very common with all these shooting ranges. Most of them are almost identical actually in design and type, really, because most of them started around the sort of 1800s, sort of late 1800s, moving on, and then some of them, like I said, would have been used for World War I training, and even, like I said, as some of them were noted, they could have been used for the Home Guard in training in World War II. So they've had, some of them had really long shelf lives, but just very, very cool. I mean, standing on top of it now, obviously we're on the roof section now, we're standing on, and it's holding my weight. Obviously, as most of you know, I'm a very fat person, so, you know, and then we're going into the fire control bunker here. Very, very cool. Like I said, which, you know, although it was used to protect the people who were here putting up the targets, it was also used as ammunition storage as well. Not uncommon, doesn't necessarily mean on every single one, but the idea was, like I said, once you finish firing, you chuck all your stuff in there and then you're pretty much done. And obviously the people who would have taken their guns or whatever, obviously to use as targets as well, it's nice, you know, because you're not really going to be, you're out of the way, and you put that big old lock on there and that's it, innit, really. Right, shall we head out? Come on in. Well, everybody, as I walk away from the rifle range, Arundel's rifle range, you can see how hidden it is. I'm literally walking down the range now, as you saw probably when I was walking up to it, because really, to get here, there's sort of only really one sort of direction to sort of go. But I thought I'd sort of take you for a little stroll back down here. It's fascinating, really. I mean, as with everything with these rifle ranges, the history of them isn't necessarily the most exciting history you're ever going to see, but it is pretty amazing just to document it. And obviously, as a recording it, you know, I mean, it's definitely not my first time of doing this sort of stuff. If you've seen on my channel, I've done a few rifle ranges in the past. I'm sure if you just type them in, you'll be able to find them. Look, any more words of Phoenix history, thank you so much for coming along with me. I really hope you enjoyed that brief little excursion into beautiful Arundel. I mean, Arundel is just pretty, isn't it? Let's be honest. And like, it's nice that that bit of hidden history is still there. Any more words of Phoenix history? Because history matters. Love to all of you out there. Feel free to spread the word of the channel. You know, all that jazz. And I'll see you all very soon. Ready? Kapow.